They say it's a big rich town, yeah. And we're here with our season 4 retrospective. The movie, all reviews combined into one, so you don't need to go anywhere, baby.
Oh, when I get out of this jail, boy. Welcome back to Par. Welcome back to the channel. And it is season 4, episode 1. We are past the halfway point of this show. And what is going to happen when you go one-on-one with the great one is the real question here, because this episode is called When I Get Out. So we kick off the season pretty much where last season ended. Ghost is being read his rights. He's having to take his clothes off. His phone's going. Tasha's trying to ring him. We're getting flashbacks of Tommy and Tasha telling him not to trust Angela. She's a fed. You can't trust him. And you know what? The more you look at this, it's like the more that they were absolutely right. Like, come on, let's be real about it. They were absolutely right. I said, like, this relationship is so stupid. It was always going to end like this. And Angela wants a blood sample from Jamie, from the big man. Then the main FBI guy, which his name it just fucking eludes me. He gets the phone call that James St. Patrick's been arrested for the murder of Greg, but of course he's actually the one that killed Greg, so not looking good here for him. Tommy then heads down into a basement. It's turned out that he kept Tanisha, what's her name? Tanisha, alive, I believe it is. Of course, we're led to believe, obviously, like Milan told Tommy to kill her, but he actually kept her alive. I mean, to me, she's hot, like, I mean, I'll give her that, but it's just a bit weird that, they would keep her alive, to be perfectly honest. But here she is, she's alive. I mean, later on in the episode, she kind of has a go at Tommy about what he's doing, and things aren't looking too good in terms of that. I was like, is he going to have to shut her up? But no. So then she returns to Tasha's house, but we'll get that a wee bit later on. Tommy confronts Dre about where the fuck is Tyreek. And Tyreek, of course, is with Kanan, but then they hear about a better deal. As Dre shows up, Dre's like, I'll get you his money. Oh, 15 grand ahead, so we don't need to do this whole ransom deal with Tariq, but obviously Tasha thinks it's Kanan because of the whole burnt arm thing. But guess what? They don't think it's Kanan because Tommy kind of puts maybe not the doubts in her head, like, but he says it can't be Kanan because there's no way Ghost would have let him be alive after going into that. So who really knows? We didn't see a bit into like Proctor, who of course is Ghost's lawyer, like a bit into his family life, and I don't know, just very weird. I mean, who really cares, to be honest? I mean, I think this is just weird. He goes upstairs and his daughter's like crying in the bathroom. I kind of felt sorry for his kid, but come on, man. James St. Patrick then phones him. Hey, man, you need to help me. But he's getting poked in the back by this guy who's, cop killer, soul stealer. Keeps poking him in the back. You're a cop killer, James St. Patrick. Absolutely is. Tasha then phones Proctor, and she's like, how do you know so much about me? He's like, I need to keep you going, man. Proctor knows so much, man, because he's a good fucking... Yeah, he is a good lawyer. I mean, he's kind of been like a nothing character. It's kind of blew up out of nowhere, but it is what it is. And you know what, guys, right? I actually cannot fucking believe that this Kanan storyline with kidnapping Tariq has fucking ended like this. I think this sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I get it from their point of view. Well, there's a lot of heat around Ghost right now, so maybe... here we'll just get money out of Dre and the drugs instead of having to kidnap Ghost's son, because obviously, Kanan's heard that Ghost is arrested, which is a pretty decent sized win for him, I guess, but come on. I mean, imagine leaving us on a cliffhanger thinking that, going into the next season, Tariq's been fucking kidnapped and what's going to happen? Can't believe they've did that. Tariq then shows up, there's a bit of a reunion, with him, Tommy and Hing. Tommy then confronts Dre, and Dre's like, no, man, I'm being straight with you. He made Slim up. Slim doesn't... Hey, Slim, does he even exist? Weird stuff going on. So it looks like Kenan's just going to keep watching from afar here and see what happens, getting his 15 grand a month. Like, what are we dragging out here with Kenan? Like, I just... Surely with Ghost locked up, right? Is it not a perfect time for him to make his moves? Like, honestly, like, don't remember back in season 2 you had fucking Kenan had like all the associates and all the contacts round the table and was like, right, we're going to take out Ghost and then we're going to run things. And then, of course, Lobos and fucking Tommy got arrested. And it's like that just fucking went nowhere. Honestly, very weird. I feel like this show, it tries to do so much, but in reality, like, not an awful lot happens, if I'm being honest about it. But Tariq, looks like he's going to be alright. But Tommy's a wee bit suspicious of Dre. But, what you doing with Kanan, man? What are you doing? Kanan then talks about his first night in jail. Then we see Ghost's first night. Can't really sleep. Proctor talks to him. Ghost was funny. He's like, yeah, I was at his house that night, but I didn't kill him. And he's like, here, your little story that you were in his house, but you didn't kill me. Ain't gonna add up. He got a cheap pop out of me. I thought that was incredibly funny. And as Ghost is being like walked back to his cell, Proctor phones Tasha, and he'll need 2 million to bail Ghost out. Killing a federal agent ain't fucking cheap these days. And then we're introduced to this old guy. So we're introduced to this old guy. I'm not quite sure who he is, but I think it's Tommy's dad. I genuinely think it's Tommy's dad. I don't know why I think it's Tommy's dad, but I just think it's Tommy's dad. Like, he's white, no real connection to anybody. I think it might be him. Tasha's struggling though to get the money together, and Ghost throughout this episode, he kind of is being bullied by the guards in this prison. But to be honest, can you really blame me? You know what? I actually kind of respect the fact if someone kills cops, all like the cops inside, like unite and fucking batter them and shit. Fair play, Like I know we watch these TV shows and the criminals are supposed to be like the great, but I like cops as well. I've no real issues with cops. But Tasha's friend's fucking pretty great, and she's just looking at her here. But then as Tasha turns around, as her friend shows up, the police are here, and we're here to raid your house. Not good. And then we kind of get a couple of funny scenes here with Angela busting in, talking to Tasha and co. But I just, there's something about this I didn't get. Like, her friend sitting there, here, do you want me to batter Angela here? What? In front of like 50 federal agents, even though Tommy just told you to lay low? Come on, woman. A wee bit fucking ridiculous here. But, all the contacts, Peter, who's shaved his head, looks really weird, looks like Julio now. He's a bit worried about Ghost getting arrested, and a few of the people contacts are, man. And you know what? Rightfully so, to be honest, the way this is fucking going. Because with Ghost arrested, things aren't looking fucking good. But then we're introduced to Han. I say Han, it's not really Han. It is Han for Fast and Furious, but it's Mr. Mac. And he's an agent, damn it. He wants to make a deal with Saletti. And this guy, I think, is Tommy's dad. And he's 68. He's in jail. Looks like he's never going to get an appeal. But if he gives him the names, he'll be out with an appeal, and he'll be able to see his wife, who's sadly dying of cancer. So if you look at it from that point of view, if he wants to see his wife, he'll have to make the deal. But Mac's making this deal, and I thought, this Mac guy, good actor. Is he going to be in this series? And boom, he is in this series because he's been moved on to the task force. He's on the team, damn it, that's going to bring James St. Patrick down. And he's up against Proctor. And that's when we see Proctor against Mac in the courtroom. Before this, we do get a scene between Tasha and Ghost where, she kind of berates him for what happened. And Ghost is like, oh, wait, there is one more option. Get my money from Dean. Get my money from Dean. Get my money from Dean, damn it. Dean is the man. Dean is the man. And Dre's now told to get some fucking woman trained up at the club. And Julio's been picked for distribution, which Dre's obviously pissed off about. But, I mean, let's be real. Julio's been with them for ages. It makes total sense for Tommy to pick Julio. Like, I could understand maybe if Ghost wanted to go with Dre. But Ghost is in fucking jail, man. Not going to happen. But Tommy, still very suspicious about this entire situation. Then we get the whole courtroom showdown. Proctor against Mac. I thought Proctor was going to win. But thank God he didn't, right? I'll tell you why. I mean, his fingerprints are outside, like, on Greg's window, and Proctor's like, here, that doesn't mean he killed him, mate. That doesn't mean he killed me. No, he didn't. I mean, his fingerprints, there's there's fucking DNA for St. Patrick under Greg's fingertips, and you're trying to tell me that doesn't, like, arouse suspicion? Like, it puts him at the fucking crime. Honestly, but a court and all that shit, man, it's all corrupt as fuck. But Mr. Mac gets what he wants, and Ghost will remain behind bars. I'm glad of this, because you remember a few seasons ago, Tommy did get released, but now, And now this time it's not. Dre gives Kenan the 45k, of course, 15k ahead. So we've been intrigued to see how this goes down. Tommy makes a few more phone calls. But I tell you what, man, things aren't looking good here. The St. Patrick household is turned upside down. And then the end of the episode, Ghost is getting absolutely battered by the guards. And you know what? Even though he didn't kill him, they think he killed him. And that's good enough for them to batter him. But you know what? It's a strong start to the season. A bit all over the place, but there was a lot in there. New characters introduced and they all look good. So I'll give this episode, guys, an 8 out of 10. So until next time, peace. Fog Entertainment back again with another par review. We're looking at episode 2 of season 4, and we have got Things Are Going to Get Worse. Of course, Ghost is still in jail. He's beginning to grow a wee bit of stubble. It would kind of suggest a time skip. He is a wee bit battered and bruised. I mean, I wouldn't say there's much of a time skip here. I would say like maybe a week or two. I mean, at most, to be honest. You've got Tasha telling the kids that they're not getting out, and then Tariq asks, how did he get the name Ghost? And then Tasha just walks away very suspiciously and is like, oh, you know, everybody in the hood had a nickname. It's like, is he just going to accept that? Well, he does. He kind of does accept that. Then Keisha turns up at Tommy's place, like demanding, like, here, I want your name off of the shop. I want you and Tasha's name off of the shop. Tommy here is woken up here, looked a bit like it. So they actually did quite a good job making him look like he just woke up. But then she kind of storms off, and I was like, it's weird that she would confront him like this at his house and be worried, and then it seemed out of character for me, but it makes a wee bit more sense a bit later on in the episode. Then Proctor, he sits down with St. Patrick, and they're discussing things here. And things just aren't exactly looking spectacular for him. He says that maybe he should admit to the relationship with Angela, but then Proctor's like, that's going to make it look like you had motive because you were in a three-way love triangle with Angela and Greg. But then we've got the counterparts of Mac and the FBI with like Sachs and shit discussing this as well. And then you've got like them both pretending that James is on the stand. And then Angela's on the stand, and it ends with Ghost turning around and saying, I would never kill a member of law enforcement. And then Proctor's like, but why would you distinct law enforcement? Surely you wouldn't kill anyone. He's like, if you said that, they would have your guts to garters, buddy. You'd be fucked. And of course he'd be fucked. Imagine saying on the stand, I would never kill a member of law enforcement. That is pretty much, but I would kill anybody else that wouldn't be in law enforcement. So yeah, Ghost is on the ropes here. He's not exactly doing good in the slightest. It looks like he's going to be absolutely in the mud. But now we're beginning to see that the Puerto Ricans here are not really sticking to Tommy's plan, and it looks like they are going to find a new connect, so to speak. And Tommy hears about this, and then he sends Julio to deal with it. Now, is this going to happen? I'm not too sure. Is Julio capable of this? We quickly find out that he's not, but we'll get to that a wee bit later on. And I think this is planting the seeds for Trey to be moved into this position, to be perfectly honest. Tommy did offer to go, but then Julio shut him down. We then see inside this big guy just comes over to Ghost and takes a bit of his fucking bread. Then we see a guy watching from afar, and I just assumed this was going to be Tommy's dad, but we'll get that a wee bit later on. Then in truth, we're beginning to see how they essentially money launder, I guess you could say, get the profits up, because when someone offers for 2 bottles of champagne, they only give them 1. My God, and that is how the money goes up, guys. That is absolutely how the money goes up. And we just see a montage of Dre watching this. We then see Proctor outside getting an interview on the TV. And he's saying the whole reason they're going after James St. Patrick is because of racism. Then we get a funny scene where no one in this room is even white. And then Sachs is like, I'm white. He's like, but how about we use you, the black guy? And I thought that was a really funny scene. You know what? I'm honestly shocked going into season 4, we still have so much involvement from the police. I actually assumed after season 1 of this show, the likes of Sachs, Greg's, the top man, and a few other people, they just wouldn't be getting used. But I'm glad they are getting used. Later down in the line, Tasha then drops Tariq and Co off at school, and the reporters there filming him, and then she essentially grabs the camera of the reporter the journalist, you know, the paparazzi, whatever you want to call them, smashes his camera. Tariq gets out, he's like, so is that what you want me to do? Act cam? Obviously making fun of his mum. He walks in, then a couple of kids come up and is like, here, see the gun you brought into school? Was that the gun your dad used to kill that cop? And he's like, yeah, and what if it was? And they all brick it and run away, which I thought was kind of funny. Then Tommy's dad, well, I mean, at this point, we don't know it's Tommy's dad, but it is Tommy's dad. His wife visits him in jail. She's like, yep, not looking good. Not the 18 months they thought it would be. I've got 12 months to live. So he looks like he's been pressured into making this deal. And yeah, then we get the Julio confronting the guys that want to jump ship. Gets into a bit of a brawl here, but Julio backs down and actually offers the guy more territory, which I'm just sitting here thinking, that's incredibly shite, to be honest. And then when we get to the scene, they're looking in truth, and they actually find a gun, but of course it's been planted. It's been planted, damn it, by the top man. The top man planted it. He's covering his tracks. He's trying to make it look like Ghost is absolutely set up here. And guys, it's not looking good for Ghost, because when we take it to court, damn it, he's getting the lethal injection. He's going to be getting the absolute death sentence. Not good for him. Tommy, during all this shite, he confronts a few members of the crew, and they're like, well, guess what, big man? Julio bottled it. And then, which we think Tommy is then going to confront Julio, but then he confronts Kesha, and it turns out these two are now in a relationship, and it makes a bit of sense now why he kept her alive, but he finds out from her about Sean, and that Tasha was banging Sean, and Ghost knew about it, and he's like, damn, that is weird. But things are not looking good here for Ghost. Proctor does tell Tommy that if Ghost goes down, then he's probably going to go down. And then the guy that threw a couple of punches on Tommy's crew earlier gets into his car, and then Tommy chases him and runs him over, breaks his leg. I think this guy's probably going to die. It's not mentioned yet, but it looks like he's going to die of blood loss. And it's funny because Proctor told Tommy to have a low profile, and here he is running this guy over in Queens, broad daylight, man, breaking the guy's leg. I thought this was it was a funny scene, but not looking good, to say the least. Tommy's mum then pulls up and just fucking he gives her the keys to his car, and she just drives off. Absolutely mental about what is going on there. For Tommy, damn it, he gets the new car, the new whip, Ghost's whip, so to speak. And then Proctor and Ghost have another wee sit down, and then his Ghost is led back to his cell. The officer who's had it in for him, because he's a cop killer, tells him about how brutal the lethal injection is and the electric chair is, and that sometimes people don't die 45 minutes after. They're sitting there twitching. Angela then is confronted by Tasha, and she's like, well, you know what? Fuck you. Tasha's like, if you weren't a cop, you'd what, Tasha? You'd what? So is this beef going to reach boiling point? Is Angela going to die soon? Who fucking knows? Kenan then confronts Dre at the shop. Says the only reason you're alive is because I'm fucking making you keep alive, brother. Then we get the final scene of the episode, a touching scene here between Tommy and Ghost. Ghost tells Tommy that the only thing I want from you, Tommy, is to look after my family, because things aren't looking good. They're giving me the needle. They're killing me, man. They're giving me the death sentence. And you know what? I really do feel sorry for Ghost, but I mean, he's got the family, has been set up for this, but it was idiotic for the guy, man. Tommy, his wife, loads of people warned about this relationship with Angela, and it's kind of his own fault that it's actually spiraled out of control to this level for me. But anyway, guys, that is it for Power. Leave your thoughts down below, and until next time, I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. I was told long ago that episode 3 of Power of each season is the sort of episode that delivers, hits the ball at the park. For me, this one didn't really do that, and I feel like it lost a wee bit of steam from the earlier episodes. But this episode is called The Kind of Man You Are. We kick off the episode, we've got Dre, we've got Julio, we've got Keisha, all getting arrested. We have the funeral of Greg Knox, damn it. And that guy who Greg Knox went to last season has now reappeared, and he looks like he's going to be another piece of the jigsaw here going forward. Meanwhile, Proctor's hired this other guy to help him. Black guy. He's got a 1 in 3. He's got a 1 in 4 loss rate. So he wins 3 out of every 4 cases he does on the death row. So tell you what, that's a pretty good return for a death row. But he doesn't really believe Ghost. I mean, obviously, Ghost didn't actually kill Greg, right? So, but he's so adamant that he did. He's like, "Yo, man, I don't care. I'm gonna get you off." I mean, it would probably help if he believed his opponent, but well, no, his what do you call him? No, not customer. What's that big? His clientele, so to speak. But Ghost points out the fact that Greg's apartment didn't have that phone when he broke into it. And again, like this whole case of I'm admitting I broke into his house, but I didn't kill him. How far is that really going to be able to hold up? Meanwhile, we've got Tommy performing uncle duties as he's dropping off Tyreek, and I can't even remember what the daughter's name is, to be honest. But she's seen crying because Tariq like stands up there a few bullies for her, and then the paparazzi's taking photos of it. Again, really weird considering these kids are underage and this guy's sitting outside of school taking fucking photographs of him. Meanwhile, though, in the interrogations, Dre and Julio they don't bend. Kesha kind of gives up information that the marriage wasn't exactly still on still really together, and but she's getting interrogated by Angela, which makes her an interesting dynamic because she's basically pinning a lot of blame on Angela's doorstep in that regard. And then when Keisha returns home, the lawyers kind of be like, well, you know what? If they bring up the fact that the marriage was done, it means Tasha can legally testify against Ghost. Of course, in the state of law in America, you're not allowed to testify against your spouse, but if the marriage is officially dead, and there's numerous sources to confirm that, then she can. Meanwhile, the old guy, Tommy's dad, he receives a phone and some ramen, makes a few phone calls, discovers that this has to be Ghost inside that's working with Tommy Egan, etc., etc. And then he goes to Ghost later on in the episode and demands that Ghost sends 20 grand to this address every month. By God, and then Ghost has to set this up with Proctor. So this guy's covering his tracks, but I thought he was going to say to Ghost about the fact that he's Tommy's father. Now, there is no, it's not been confirmed he's Tommy's father, but I'm willing just to bet big money that he is. But he made sure to Ghost that he wants Tommy to be the one to deliver it. So there you go. I mean, could we go down the route of the woman that has the cancer is Tommy's real mum? I'm not buying that because I think Tommy's mum that we've seen throughout the first 4 seasons here is like exhibit A of a junkie. She is not, and he's exhibit A of a junkie. He is literally his mother's son. So for me, I don't think they're going to go down that route. But here, maybe he'll establish a connection where. Who knows? But then the guy who Greg Knox went to last season shows up and he's like, you know what? I want to exonerate Greg Knox's name. But in order to do that, they need to get Angela to admit to conspiring. So she'll go down, but then James Patrick will go down. But then he's like, well, you know what? As well, if that happens, then we arrest Tommy Egan because he's claiming here that Greg has on tape pointing the murder of Lobos on Ghost and Tommy. But the point. But then, like, Sachs, he takes us to Sachs, and the Sachs is like, right, I'll take it to the top lawyer. Judge, sorry. So he takes it to the judge, and then the judge is like, I'll never hold up my court of law. And I don't know, see, like, the court of law, Yari, it's a load of fucking shite, man. It's all manipulated, it's all... I mean, here they've got these guys dead to rights, and, you could argue, well, the two main characters are hardly going to go to jail for this crime. Like, at the halfway point of the show. I get that logic, but again, like, you can't... Would this really work? I mean, it seems like the only sort of fucking thing that Saul would be able to get people off with for me, but here, we'll see what good of a job he can do. And then he says, I'm going to fuck off now. And then the judge is like, yeah, you fuck off, which I thought was a funny scene, to be honest. But, I mean, how's this going to go? I'm not really too sure. Angela then confronts Ghost, says, right, you got to make a deal, admit to this, and I'll take the death penalty off the table. And he's like, how about you admit it wasn't me? I was planted. But then, like, Proctor's trying to prompt Ghost not to... He's advising him not to take this deal. But then, like, the new lawyer's like, here, mate, you can't advise him to do that. It has to be your client's own decision. But things are quickly unraveling here for Proctor and co. But then, eventually, we do get the meet in the courtroom. And they get the DNA thrown out. I think it's ridiculous. So, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, it's kind of not. He's openly admitted that he's broke into the guy's house. His DNA was found on him. Now, yes, there was a traffic stop, right? I totally get that, by Greg, which they whipped at the CCTV footage of here. Angela knew about it, and because she knew about it, and the department knew about it, they had to throw the entire thing out, which to me is a bit ridiculous, but they did. But, like, Right, so maybe even if you argue that the DNA that was found could have been from the traffic stop, how did it get under your fingernails? Or how did Greg get Ghost's DNA under his fingernails? For me, I think that is a load of shite. I'm sorry, they would actually throw this out. Like, so what about when we actually get to the case and they're like, aye, oh, by the way, actually, Ghost, he broke into his apartment. The murder weapon that was used was found at Truth. And then what they can't mention the fact there's no DNA because they'll be like, oh, but Angela didn't talk about the fact there was a traffic stop by Greg. Come on, man, it's all corrupt. Ray then visits Tommy and says, here, I did get released, I got held up by the cops, but Julio was held a wee bit longer than me. Oh no. And then the guy that was bullying Tariq, well, Kenan and some guy rob his house. That's all Kenan's doing these days, man. It's a real slow burn with him, man. It really is. It absolutely fucking sucks to say the least. But we've got this like big boxing tournament that like Tommy's hosting, and then he confronts Joe and he's like, "You gotta know who to trust." And it's like, is he really suspicious of Tommy? Or no, if Julio is Julio a rat? I'm not really willing to bet it. Then the episode ends with Ghost talking to the new lawyer guy. That's name we'll probably have to remember the next episode. I mean, it was alright, but I feel like after a really strong start to season 4, we're kind of just going around in circles with the fact that Ghost is in jail. And I don't think, I mean, honestly, what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? I say who knows. The guy's going to get out. It's not like he's going to get a life sentence. I'd be fucking shocked if Ghost got a life sentence, guys. But anyway, leave your thoughts down below. I'm going to give this episode of Par a 6 out of 10. But until next time, leave your thoughts down below. And that is Fog Entertainment signing out. We'll be back very soon, troops. But until then, peace. Oh, hell yeah. Time is running out for James St. Patrick here in the latest episode of Par. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment, and we've got We're in This Together. Here we kick off the episode. He's lifting a few weights. You think, this is going to go well, but just like Chris Benoit's weightlifting machine accident back in 2007, this does not go well. He's doing a wee bit of bench press, and then the guard that's got it in from Cap Killer puts it over his neck. You almost feel like he was a goner here. Why he spares him? I'll never know. Like, why does he actually spare him apart from Ghost is like the main character? Doesn't really make much sense to me, but he says the cameras in this room don't work. We killed another Cap Killer like you last year. Cameras don't work. So yeah, pretty stupid to fucking reveal that. But yeah, we're going to see how this goes. Then Ghost sits down with Proctor again, tells him about the Cap Killer, the cop killer guy. He's like, you're going to have to sort him out. Look into him, big man. Julio then gets met by like the head of the Dominicans, and you can clearly see here there's just like, because Julio and Tommy aren't on the same page, it's clearly trickling down. And then this guy later in the episode goes to see Julio, not Julio, I'm sorry, Dre. And it looks like they could be working some sort of side deal. So who knows how that is going to go down today. Proctor then tells Tommy that things aren't looking good and that, here, if Ghost goes down, you could be going down, big man. And guess what? There's also this Homeland Security guy that has a bit of information. He's like, but I'm going to meet him. Why did Proctor tell Tommy this? We all knew, right? As soon as he told Tommy this, Tommy's like, well, I'm coming with you. Like, what did Proctor think was going to happen? See, for a guy that's portrayed as this, like, smart-ass lawyer, this was incredibly stupid, man. Incredibly stupid. Then, what's her face? Angela plants the seed in Tasha's head that, we tried to make a deal with James yesterday about you and the kids, but he refused it, which is actually true, I guess, to a degree, but he refused it. And then that forces her to go see him. Tommy then confronts Julia about it, and he's like, right, you need to get the money off Dre, and if you don't, your problem's going to soon become my problem. Julio then confronts Dre about this, and he's like, we're all good between you and me. But it's like, I didn't say nothing about snitching. That's what Tommy said, but who knows how that's going to go down. And then, guess what happens? Guess what happens, big man? The angry black man's arse collapses, man. He absolutely does. Proctor has him on the ropes. And to be honest, I can see why he's flipped out here, because Proctor's sitting here accusing him that he was the real mole. And he's like, yo, I've had a badge for 20 years. I'm being accused of this shit. No wonder. I mean, I would react I don't think it really looks that bad, if we're being honest. Tommy then pays a visit to the lady, the Italian mob boss, his daddy's fucking wife. And then they got the guy with the mustache there, and he's like, so you're not really one of the guys, you're one of the guys that held one of the maid guy's bags. Like, I was a maid guy, you little shit. Then his wife comes out after Tommy leaves, 20k has been paid, and his wife is like, my husband, I known him for 40 years. What's going on? He wouldn't do anything like this. He told me everything. Well, I'm willing to assume that Tommy ain't 40. I think Ghost is like, what, mid 30s? I'm going to assume Tommy's around the same age as that. So, yeah, I'm going to assume that Tommy has been a naughty boy. Or his daddy's been a naughty boy. Maybe he is 40, but to me, I don't really know what age Joseph Sikora is, but he doesn't come across a guy that's 40. He looks more like a guy's early 30s to me, but we'll have to wait and see. But this meet with Proctor and the main man is set up, and then, yeah, what happens here? The guy tells me about the recording that would, would directly involve, and he's like, I'm telling you, Proctor, you would have to choose between your two clients. And then out of nowhere, well, I say out of nowhere, I thought it was inevitable, Tommy just kills the Homeland Security guy. So, I mean, it's like that. So yeah, Tommy kills him, and he's like, it's a good thing I don't have to kill you, Proctor, which I thought was funny. We've also got a scene where Kanan and his crew rob a house that, Tariq is friends with, and Tariq's upstairs. Like, it's nothing, it's just your cat knocked something over. Is this really what Kanan has been demoted to? Like, I'm sorry, like, this just ain't doing it for me. This is 50 fucking cent. Here is Ghost, right? He's locked up. He is at his weakest. If there's not a time for Kanan to strike, is this not it right now? Tommy, can run things himself. I'm not denying that. But for me, he's coming across, like, I don't, I mean, it seems like they're just dragging it out at this point. I wouldn't even be surprised if Kanan doesn't make his move to, like, season 5. That is honestly the way we're going here. But then Truth gets shut down. Keisha's hairdressing the place gets shut down. Things are not looking good. But yeah, we've got a dead Homeland Security guy. Big Facetti comes up to Ghost, and he's like, you keep the 20k rolling. He's like, yeah, well, I know you killed that Tommy kid. So if you keep using this leverage, then I'm going to out you, and you'll never be able to get to see your daughter, your wife, obviously, because Ghost is like, because you were going to be out on parole soon. But guess what? Fuck you. Keep me chuver honest, is essentially what's going on here. But then we've whipped up a masterclass here from the police. We've got Mac. It turns out they've revealed that Proctor was in fact Tommy Egan's lawyer. So the client of him was both Tommy and Ghost, and that is a clear conflict of interest because they offered Ghost a deal that would in fact arrest Tommy and shaft him. So the mayor, the guy from Prison Break's like, yep, you know what, Proctor, you're off the case. Proctor then talks to Ghost. It's like, you're on your own now, buddy. That is it. Absolutely. Good night. He then goes like have a drunken rant at Angela's apartment. She's like, go home, Proctor, you're drunk. She then goes through the tape message, the not the tape messages, the recordings. The recordings on the wall. And she notices the main man. I believe she notices him. It was very hard to it was caught in between. Now, Ghost leaves without actually putting the gun in, so she obviously realizes it has been planted, and now is she just going to completely turn this case upside down and be like, oh, he was shafted? I mean, she did love him, like, but come on. Just because someone planted the gun there doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't kill him. Honestly, like, I mean, I know deep down that this show ain't going to kill Ghost. We all know it. I think wasting a season on him being in jail is almost irrelevant. Like, it actually is a waste of time. Like, has it been good seeing him in jail for a few episodes? Yes, it's like a different dynamic. But for me, like, he's never going to get arrested. He's never going to get the death penalty. So you may as well just fucking get him out as soon as possible. But anyway, troops, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And until next time, peace. Don't thank me. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. We are at the midway point of Par Season 4, and damn, a lot of things are hitting the fan in this episode. We do kick off the episode with Paz and Angela, and she basically says that she thinks Jamie's innocent. You know what? Paz could have played the older sister role, the sibling, or the family members. Like, well, he done you dirty, it doesn't matter. Give him the death penalty. But she's like, you get Jamie off. Will Angela get Jamie off this episode? We will have to wait and see. But her sister's kind of giving her that. Then we get Silver sitting with Ghost. Ghost isn't too pleased that he's his attorney now, and he's like, my attorney? I'm not angry. No, I'm not scared. I'm fucking angry, man. Which I think was fair enough. Angela then confronts Mike, brings the evidence to him about there was no proof on the surveillance tapes that Ghost actually put the gun back, but he's like, no, we're not bringing this up. And I knew at this point, right, this ain't looking good. And then Sachs comes in, they find out in the finances of Ghost that Tommy, he gave Tommy a $1 million loan, so to speak. Well, that's the way Ghost tries to say it, but damn, it's not really happening like that. Then we get Teresi. He's in jail. He's working out. He's looking a bit done. He then confronts the U.S. Marshal that's been pressing the main man, Ghost, and he's like, I hear you get a transfer. He's like, oh, you want some one-on-one time with Ghosty Boy, the cop killer. How about you kill him, man? We kill him, you put it in motion. So yeah, it looks like these guys are all going to team up and kill Ghost. But then this scene that happens later on, I seen it like years ago, like on Facebook, you know, like when they just like post random like movie clips, and then you're able to like kind of see about what's going on. Silva then tells Tasha that she may have to testify, and like it's almost like we're teasing a romantic relationship between these two. Will it go anywhere? I'm not too sure. Lakeisha, she rolls a blunt, and Tommy's like, you can roll a blunt. She's like, well, you white boys don't usually roll blunts. You have bongs. And he's like, yeah, play with this bong. And then he kind of gets his dick out, which was kind of a funny scene. But she asks him about Tommy, no, Holly, sorry, and he kind of like blanks her. And then but it was a really awkward scene, this, because, you know, you just knew that he wasn't going to acknowledge this, but like she kind of like pretends, well, I didn't hear him just say that, did I? Nope, I didn't. Tommy then confronts Proctor. Proctor's obviously off the case, though, and, you know, he's having a meal with his daughter. Angela confronts him, and looks like she is actually going to job out this entire case, undermine everybody, damn it. Hard Stern then turns up, and he's like, hey, Ghost, if you want any money, you can get it from me. And he also does the same to Tasha later in the episode, but then later in the episode, she actually makes the phone call to him for some money. Like, imagine Ghost, like, she knows that Ghost is getting it, right? Sorry for the spoiler alert, but she phones this guy anyway. This just seems like a bit of a forced storyline to keep this guy around. Not a fan of this guy whatsoever. So for me, this can absolutely get in the bin. Kesha kind of lets slip that she is seeing a man and that he's a white boy. And Tasha's like, only white boy I know that you know is Tommy, but she kind of glosses over it. Angela then goes to see Ghost. Ghost admits to being in the apartment truthfully, 100% truthfully, but you're like, we've already heard all this stuff, like, what the fuck's this doing? And then we think, right, is Angela going to do anything? Who knows? We then get this, like, really explicit sex scene between Julio and the Asian. But, I can't remember where she worked, man. I think she worked for I can't even remember, but, you know what, it was a pretty hot sex scene, you can't dispute that. And you know what? It's been ages. So I mean, we've had Tommy and like Kesha, but normally it was Ghost and Angela, every day of the week. But yeah, this was pretty explicit without actually showing you their bits, so to speak. But Jesus Christ, man, getting it on here. And Julio did not feature much in this episode. He really didn't. Tommy then like pays a visit to Tariq, and he's like, "Where are you getting all these clothes?" And he's like, "I saved up. I need to be the man of the house. I bought them." And then he talks about losing his virginity, and he says that Dre dropped them off at the house. Dobbin, Dre in it. We then get the case here between the hearing. We've got Ghost against Mac, Sachs, and Mike. It's not looking good for Ghost at this point. They bring up the fact that, you know, there was this £1 million fee between Tommy and Ghost. But, you know, Silver tries to play it off as a simple loan between friends, but then Mike's on the stand, and because they had to make Ghost testify, he's able to withstand all these questions now for Mike, and things are not looking fucking good for Mike. It really is that simple. Well, he's not making things look good for Ghost Mike. He's fucking hitting it to him deep. He's like, I'm not a killer. He's like, but you did refer to Greg as Greg. So yeah, cards are on the table at this point. Tommy then thanks Dre for like doing this like underground setup that's making them a bit of cash, but then confronts him about Tariq. He's like, hell, you don't do anything that involves the family without you coming through me first. It's like, no matter what Dre does, there's always something that's affecting this like relationship with him and Tommy. It's like he could make Tommy $20 billion, but there's always going to be something, man, that's in charge of it. We then have Ghost, he's working out in the weight room. And then as this scene was happening, I just remembered seeing it. It was so explicit, so gory. I mean, the guy talks about maybe I could be with your wife and I can have your kids call me daddy. And after all the taunting of the past couple of episodes this season of this guy taunting Ghost, Ghost has enough. They get into a bit of a fight. The guy's getting the upper hand because he's using the police baton. Ghost then grabs the dung bell. He cracks him in the head, gets on top of him. I thought, now this is like when I properly remembered this scene. I was like, holy fuck, he's just going to crush his fucking dome here. And what does he do? He absolutely does it. And yeah, I mean, the roids on Ghost's fucking arms as he was crushing this guy's face, absolutely insane. Make no mistake about it, he crushes it. His fucking skull explodes. Epic kill, man. Honestly, this was fucking insane. This deserves so much fucking punishment. And like, praise. So he just sticks it with the blood everywhere, man. And he sticks it through his fucking skull. But obviously, because I remembered it, I knew that Ghost got away with it. I remember like the old guy helping him. Turns out the old guy's Teresi. Teresi helps him. They frame it on some other guy who was actually there to kill Ghost. And as they walk in, they're just like looking at like, what the fuck. Tracy gets him in a headlock. Absolutely insane stuff going on here. And Tracy realised like, he just killed him, so maybe I confirm. But Tracy took a risk. I tell you. Getting this guy in a fucking headlock. Because he got him in a headlock while he had the shiv. I mean, I know Ghost was kind of like restraining him at the same time, but yeah, Tracy made his bet here and he decided to stick with Ghost. And I think it was the correct decision. Like, now you can use Ghost. He's got this leverage on him as well. And we'll see how it goes. But they make it look like he did it and hang the guy who came in. Tasha then confronts Tommy about Lakeisha. He finally reveals that he's the one that actually he did kill Holly, and he never knew she was pregnant, because if he knew she was pregnant, he never would have done it. And I totally get his point of view. And at this point, it's revealed that now Angela Valdez is in fact going to testify, and she's actually going to reveal all the secrets, by God. And that's exactly what Angela does. You can see the disdain on like Mike's face about Angela doing this, and she brings all this up, and then they completely like throw another comment, like they just throw her under the bus. You've got Mike, oh, your relationship, oh, you give this guy evidence, you hid evidence, and then it just prompts Proctor, the judge, to essentially throw the case out. He's free to go, which is mad to think. Because, things weren't exactly looking good for Ghost. But now he's a free man, damn it. He's a free man. So, yeah, I really enjoyed these court scenes. Will it be the last in the show? I mean, it could be, but we'll have to wait and see. Kanan then visits Dre. Dre gives him his final payment. Tells him to back off Tariq. I mean, Dre's obsession with Tariq's fucking pretty mental. Julio then sees Kanan meeting with Dre. Now the problem with this is you can't really see too much for like Julio's perspective. Now, two things: if he sees him giving him a duffel bag full of cash, that could be worrying for Dre. Two, if Julio knows who Kanan is, like maybe he knows who he is but doesn't know what he looks like, that could also be big issues as well. So looking forward to seeing how this is going to all play out. I mean, could we see a world where like Kanan kills Julio? Potentially. Tommy then heads for Chicago. Chicago want him up there, so it looks like that's where he's going to go. Kenan returns to like the apartment he's been chilling at, and the police officer woman steps out, and it turns out that plan that we've put in motion at the end of last season, season 3, to basically kidnap Tariq and demand money from Ghost, is in play. But like Ken had a look here, like I said, no, I don't really want to do that plan anymore, but I want to fuck up Ghost, but I'm not killing his son. So
I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a cop out ending. I really hope we do get something like this where Kanan is like leveraging his son over a Ghost, but we'll have to wait and see. A good episode, but it just feels like we wasted. I mean, I don't want to say it's a waste. Maybe that's the wrong terminology, but like we just did so much this season around this court case just for Angela to jump sides again. It's like, for fuck's sake, man. See if her and Ghost end up in a relationship again. Oh my god, man, this show. Sometimes it's phenomenal. It really is. Like sometimes it is fantastic, and then there's times where it just does so much like questionable shit, like the killing in the gym room in prison, man. Epic. I am going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. Let's see what the second half of season 5 delivers. But anyway, till next time, peace. I'm a new man, it's a new day, and I'm feeling the power. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. We're looking at season 4, episode 6 of Power. Deaths in this episode, quite a lot of deaths, quite a lot happening. So let's get stuck into it. We kick off the episode. Ghost is, adjusting to his normal life, so to speak. He's back, he's out of jail, but he has to get this phone to Tommy, because Tracy said if he doesn't, he'd dob him in it back inside. So things aren't looking good for Ghost, and of course Tommy's up to Chicago. Pretty much no one knows where he is, but Ghost wants to rekindle things with Tasha, and she's like, not a chance. And you know what? You can absolutely see why here. Kanan is then sitting outside Truth. He goes to kill Ghost, but then Howard Stern walks in. He's like, nah, too much heat on this guy. I'll wait till a wee bit later. And Stern's offering Ghost a way out. So I just don't like this Stern character, man. I get it. We're not really supposed to like him, right? He's supposed to be a dickhead. He's supposed to be a thorn in the side of Ghost, but I think he just sticks it like a sore thumb. It's like, here, we've got a majority black show. How about we add this old white guy who's a nuisance? But that's what it feels like to me with Hard Style bad at points. It really does. Tracy then phones Ghost and says, how the fuck have you not got the phone to Tommy? He's like, remember our little deal, buddy? And then Ghost's like, I'll do it. Do not worry about it. Kanan then phones Jukebox. And Jukebox is like, yeah, I got him. I got Tariq. He's playing. And Tariq here is sitting there playing Xbox. So there's me thinking that Tariq was kidnapped. Well, I guess he essentially was kidnapped, but he's sitting here playing. I couldn't necessarily see the controller. It looks like an Xbox controller, so, But he manages to, Jukebox manages to text Tasha on Tariq's phone and buys Tariq another night. So they've got another day in order to get the main man here. Tommy then arrives in Chicago and he meets the main man. And the main man's like, you know what, Tommy, you're a great guy. And I didn't bring you up here to whack you, so don't worry about that. If I wanted to do that, you'd already be whacked. But what we're doing here is I want to expand our business and I want to see if you can run the East Coast and the West Coast. So how's this going to go? Not too sure. Sure, brother. Julio then pulls up with Dre, and then he asks him, like, here, what were you doing with Kanan? I bet you Tommy doesn't know about that. So how much does Julio know about Kanan? I guess he doesn't even know. Like, Kanan getting killed. Tommy thought Kanan's dead, Tasha thought Kanan's dead, and Ghost thought Kanan's dead, right? So, but would that information have ever trickled down to Julio? I don't think it would have. So I don't think that's why it's such a big of a shock to him. But once this conversation was had and he's told Dre everything he knows, I kind of just realised that it was going to be game over for Julio, sorry. I could kind of just tell. Howard Stern though tells Ghost as well that here, Tasha made that deal. And Tasha is confronted by Ghost and she's like, all you do is make decisions behind the club's back, so what's your point? And you know what? She's got a point here. I get it. He's the man. He's the one that's realistically making all the money out there. But at the same time, it's hypocritical of Ghost to have a go at Tasha for this. Even though she's in the wrong, it's like, how many times has he been in the wrong? I mean, all this situation stemmed from his affair with Angela. And it seems like he's not even getting called out in that enough, if we're being honest. I don't think he is. That's just my personal opinion. Dre then goes to Julio's former gang. The 618 are they called? I think they're called the 618. Essentially gives him up. He says Ghost is out of the game, so that deal you made with Julio to keep him alive, because Ghost made the deal with all the money, well, it's no longer in play because Ghost is out the game. And I was like, fuck, Drace just gave up Julio, but I thought there'd be another twisting the puzzle here. Tommy then gets knocked out in Chicago. What's Chicago going to do with Tommy? We'll have to wait and see. And then we get Julio's last stand. And I don't really know what to make of Julio as a character. I mean, here we are, 4.5 seasons deep, and he's just a bit of a nothing man, isn't he? I don't really know what to say. I wasn't that bothered when he died here. And his death really served. I mean, I was going to say it served no purpose. The purpose it serves is it moves him out the way. He's killed, and now Dre can like kind of move himself into his position. But he was almost doing that without even having to kill him. And let's just get to his death. So it's 3-on-1. He puts up a really good fight. 3-on-1. He gets stabbed a few times. He kills one of the guys. The other guy, he has him beaten. He's like, "Is that all you fuckers got?" But then that guy like slashes the back of his Achilles. Oh, and you just see the blood like spurting out. And then he manages to knock him down. But then the leader guy, he starts stabbing Julio. It's too much for him. He falls, and then the guy cuts his fucking tattoo off, which I thought was sick. But you know what? Pretty good scene, nonetheless. And yeah, Julio is murdered. You disrespected me for the last time, puto. Um, absolutely rinsed here. Julio, you know what? He betrayed his crew, and then he gets stabbed. He's coughing up. He's splurting up blood. He's dead. Julio's dead. And what the heck of the character? Like I said, I don't really know. I think he's like the most standard 5 out of 10 ever. And I wouldn't even like. Tommy will probably find out about his death, and he won't care. He won't even want to know like who. I mean, he'll probably want to know who did it. Like, but there's not going to be anything groundbreaking for me. He's just like he's just a henchman at the end of the day. Like to me, like Dre has done so much more than Julio. I thought there might have been like like a shootout or something with Tommy Ghost and Julio and etc. And then he might have took a bullet in it, but here he get took out by his former gang. It's the end. Like it's the end of the road for Julio. So guess we got to move on. Tommy is then confronted over the death of Milan. Peter's laying it on thick to these guys that it was all Tommy, but then Tommy's like, "Why the fuck would I do that? He gave me the okay. He said you guys were okay with it." Then the woman Tatiana shows up and basically backs Tommy's story, and then they kill Peter. And then Tommy's like, "Haha, it's the last time I walk in front of any of you jackasses again." And that's pretty much what happens. And then he drives. He sees a sign for Cleveland, which of course that's where Holly was from. And then he goes there, goes to a house. It's a real estate developer. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a quiet neighborhood." And he's like, "Here, you like to fuck little girls, don't you?" And then all right. If Holly told this story that she was touched by her uncle, I do not remember it. Right? I do not remember it in the slightest, one single bit. But yeah, I'm not going to call Tommy a liar here, but that's what happens. He just beats this guy with a baseball bat. And here, normally some of Tommy's kills are pretty unjust, but I have no issues with what he did here. Moving on. Kaden manages to take Ghost at gunpoint. Ghost is like he saw a ghost. He's like, "How the fuck are you still alive?" And then Kaden basically explains the whole plan. "We've got your son. We need money." And the way they're going to get money is that they're going to rob one of the stash houses. And you know what? I actually really enjoyed this scene. With Ghost and Kanan like working together, steal the money at the stash house, and Ghost was given a gun with a clip. He knocks a few out, and then the guy who's got, I guess, the final boss, you could say, goes for his gun, and Kanan drops him. But Ghost is obviously raging about this because he didn't want anybody to die. But Kanan does not care about that. Let's be real. Kanan does not care in the slightest. But Tasha is wondering where the hell is Tariq, and Ghost's like, "It's alright, I'm going to get him." So yeah, Kanan and Ghost are going, they reminisce, and he's like, "Don't take out my son, what your beef you've got with me." And then when they get outside the building, Kanan gives Ghost the gun, and he's like, "Yo, man, if you want to kill him, just do it. Just do it. If you want to kill me, do it, because our beef is never going to end." I'm like, "What are you doing, Kanan?" And then there's me thinking Kanan wants all the money, and he's like, "You know what, right? I'm going to give you a gun. I don't know how many people in her crew there is, but we're going to go in, and we are going to absolutely lay the smack down, and yeah, get your son back." Now, I just did not get this. I get it, right? Kanan is close with Tariq. I get it, right? But see when they go in,
it's 2-on-1 against Jukebox, and the guns are getting pointed here. And if Kaden truly wanted to get Tariq back for Ghost and do him a favour for some reason and make the beef between them, Kaden could have just walked in and dropped Jukebox straight away. But no, they didn't do that. And for me, this scene just felt forced. I actually thought it was a really good episode up to this point, but this scene just didn't do it for me. It really didn't. I'm sorry. And then Jukebox, is telling, asking Tariq, "Oh, you ask Ken who he really is," and Ken explains who he is. "I'm not Slim. I'm a bad motherfucker. I killed Sean. I killed my own son because he's fucking weak. I killed this nigga," sort of shit. And it's like, all right, Ken, Jesus Christ, son, what the hell you doing? And then Kaden decides to drop Jukebox, and it's like we just kind of wasted a scene here, didn't we? Honestly, I just don't really get the scene because Jukebox, like, what is she gonna do? Kenneth flipped on her. She was never gonna be able to drop both of them before one of them got her. And I guess she could have killed Tariq, but again, I actually really enjoyed this episode. But the ending sucked, and I felt like it was all over the place as well. Like, you've got Tommy in Chicago, you've got Julio getting killed literally behind everyone's back, and then you've got Ghost in this. I like this. I like the Ghost and Ken stuff to the finale bit. But I'm going to give this episode, guys, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. If the ending was done right, I could have literally gave this a 9, but for me, it was a bit of a clusterfuck, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
It's gonna be alright, Tariq. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment, and we are back with episode 7 of season 4 of Power. You lied to my face. You lied to my face. What's going on here? Let's find out. We kick off the episode. Tariq and Ghost are on this subway. Tariq's got blood on his collar. Ghost covers up. Everyone's kind of looking at them, but nothing too suspicious is going on here, man. And no, I don't like about this, right? I thought this would actually change Tariq, but it seems like he's just still the moody teenager that he was before this. Like, I get it. A lot of people lied to him. A lot of secrets are coming out about the family. But come on, man. What is going on? Tommy then goes to the location where Ghost and Kenan robbed. It's not the cook shop, but the point, man. One of their points. And the guy reveals it was fucking Ghost and that Kanan motherfucker. So obviously Tommy can't believe it's Kanan. Ghost then rings him and is like, "Yo, man, Tariq got hurt. Tariq's hurt." So Tommy heads over there. These two meet. He embraces Tariq. And I don't know. Anytime I see Tommy, like, embrace, like, anybody, it just seems forced. Like, he's Uncle Tommy. I'm not saying he wouldn't do anything for these kids, but it just seems a bit forced. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me, to be perfectly honest. You've got Ghost and Tommy arguing about this, saying about holy fuck. So it was Kanan the first time. It's like he was a crispy ass motherfucker. So funny, honestly. But Tommy here, things are going to absolute shit. And also, last episode didn't even have anything to do with the police, but this episode, you bet your bottom dollar, we've got stuff to do with the police. Mac sits down Sax, Mike, and Angela, and basically tells them, "You three are fired." Mike then says in Spanish, "You can suck my fucking dick." Sean wishes he was still alive. Tariq then has a go at Tasha. Then Tasha and Ghost argue about Ken and, motherfucker, you killed him. Murder this, murder that, we sell drugs this, and their daughter's outside the room like, what the hell is going on in there, man? Absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. And out of nowhere, as this is going down, Simon Stern arrives, and it's like, holy shit, man. Ghost can't catch a break. And then essentially what this leads to is an interview. Nothing more mental than that. Tommy then shows up at Dre's outside this warehouse. He's like, "Right, Dre, did you know Kenan was alive?" Dre denies it, and Tariq did cover for Dre, so fair play to Tariq for that. And then he's like, "Well, Tommy, we got bigger fish to fry, man. I haven't heard from Julio since last night." And this is where his cell went out. They go into the warehouse and they find Julio dead. By God. He's been dead a wee while. And Tommy's like, "Those motherfuckers went back on the deal." And they did go back on the deal, didn't they? Because the whole deal was they would have kept him alive. And that's just not how this thing went down. But Tommy and Ghost here, looks like the bromance has been reunited. Now, you've got Sax and Mike who are trying to make it, they're trying to
they're not trying to plant Donovan as the mole. Well, I mean, obviously Mike is, but Sax thinks Donovan might be. But then you've got Angela, who's working with Donovan to try and figure out who could have possibly planted this. And then, which we've seen teased in previous episodes, between the lawyer and Tasha, this relationship looks like it's going somewhere, and then it seriously goes somewhere, as it looks like, yep, Tasha's completely out of love with Ghost, and she's now banging this motherfucker. Tommy then visits Julio's old crew, and the guy that actually killed Julio is like, here, it's this guy that killed him. He wasn't aware of the deal. Tommy's like, what? I don't believe this. I don't believe this young fucking pup actually could have killed Julio. And Tommy pulls his gun on the main man. He's like, I want to meet with your fucking connect. And that's where it sets up. And then his connect is actually the Jimenez brothers, which we are then introduced to them in the next scene. And it's funny because we've got Agent Jimenez for the Mayans. He's here. He's here in this show. And they essentially just force this guy, one of their workers, to like snort drugs to save his family. And his wife's actually the one that turned rat. So I kind of feel sorry for this guy. And I'm assuming he was snorting like rat poison here, because he snorted like 3 lines and he started pissing blood. Then he just fucking died. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. They love a wee bit of drug use here on this channel, on this show. Sorry, they absolutely do. But yeah, Angela's pressing Donovan. Donovan does manage to return the USB to her. He comes over that night, and just as, you know, things are going according to plan there for these two, Sax shows up and is like, yeah, me and Mike think it's Donovan. Then as the door like opens a bit more, Sax sees Donovan. He's like, damn. So it looks like these three are now going to work together to get Mike. I think the secret is going to come out in Mike very soon, to be honest. Tariq then asks Dre a couple of questions. Tommy and Dre then meet with the Jimenez brothers. Tommy's like, well, hold on, it's not really the Jimenez brothers, it's the Jimenez brother and sister. Sister's looking mighty fine, may I just add here. But Tommy basically sets these guys straight here. I want some product. I want some West Coast connections here in California and all that shit. Tommy, that's what I like about Tommy. You know, he fucking gets his own business across, man. He does. He seriously does, and I like it. Damn it. Ghost gives Tasha a ring. They have another hang at Truth. Oh, we gotta make him look good. We gotta make him look good. He meets a few more people. Simon Stern's not happy about some of the people that he's meeting. And then Tariq gets drunk and he pushes his sister a bit. Mike then puts a silencer on his gun. He goes to visit Donovan. Turns out his kid's there. He's like, no, it's alright. I'll speak to Donovan another time. So yeah, I think the ball is definitely gonna drop on Mike, and it's probably gonna be soon. And then yeah, finally, Ghost manages to finally get this phone to Tommy so he can phone Teresi, and that's how this episode ends, guys, with Teresi revealing to Tommy that he's his dad, and Tommy calls it bullshit. But then, like, when Teresi starts talking, he's like, I knew your mother, Kate. I don't know what it was. I was just really into redheads. Tommy Hank put 2 and 2 together there. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how this could potentially go here. Could we see Teresi outside, or could we see Teresi be the inside connect where they can like start selling drugs in prison? Who knows, guys? Who knows? But that is it for Power. No Kane in this episode. It was good to see the police people, like all of them, return. It was alright. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It was an alright episode, but we'll be back very soon with some more content here on Power. But until then, peace.
It's done, Ghost. It is all over for Mike Sandoval. And I didn't think it was going to go like that, guys. But I'm back to Fog Entertainment. It is Season 4, Episode 8 of Power. And this one is called, of course, It's Done. I've kind of referenced it a few times here. But yeah, the lawyer, the black lawyer, he turns up at Ghost's house. Ghost notices an earring. No, Ghost turns up at his house, notices an earring. Of course, this guy's been banging Tasha. Will Ghost find out about that? He probably will. But I mean, what can he really say? He's been doing the same shit. Sax is then out in the snow. So Mike gets to him and Mike's a wee bit suspicious of Sax, but not really. But obviously at this point I think they're just trying to, shaft Mike, so to speak. Things aren't looking good. But Dre is sweating. He's sweating over the prospect of this war, but mate, that's what happens when you start a war. It's not going good. Then Ghost meets with like the councilman down in Queens, damn it, down in Brooklyn, in the Black Hood, and they meet with Dre, and Ghost ain't very happy though that he's met with Dre at this point. But then we get Sax, Angela, and of course I can't even remember this other agent's name, but the guy who Mike's going to try and pin it on. Pretty funny here. They've got no evidence really to put it towards Mike apart from, well, Angela, when she phoned the number, it went off. They heard the same helicopter, but of course they're only bit of evidence like pretty much incriminates her with Ghost. So how's that going to go according to plan? Tommy then confronts his mum about his daddy, but she denies everything. But you kind of tell that she was lying here at this point. Dre then has a meeting with pretty much everyone in Tommy's crew, and they're like, we don't want to go to war, and he's like, fuck it, you are going to war. Tommy wants it, I want it, boom. Then the other guy's like, right, big man, are you really sure that we can do this? You think we can go to war, buddy? I don't think we can go to war. I don't think we can go to war, Tommy. Then talking with Ghost about it, I don't think we can go to war either, big man. But then they're worried about this USB that's out there that, of course, incriminates him. But Tommy's like, I gave it to Proctor, no need to fear. But Proctor is then confronted by Ghost. And that's what I kind of thought was funny about all this. Can they really trust Proctor? Like, seriously? Can they really trust Proctor with this, like, information that he's got? Because this just ain't any information, man. This is like, if he uses this, it could bring everybody down. But the way this show's went, as soon as, like, there's somebody with evidence that, like, incriminates Tommy or Ghost, like, Tommy just ends up killing them. It's... Like, I actually enjoy watching this show, I really do, but I think it's almost like too predictable, to be honest. And I just think I think it's a bit unrealistic that they're even drying Proctor out. Like, I get it, Proctor was a good lawyer to Ghost, but Tommy just it shows that he will literally kill anybody. He then goes to Tracy's wife and he manages to get a picture, and then this picture pretty much reveals that Tracy is his dad. Then Ghost and Tommy sit down with the Jimenez cartel and basically say, well, you know what, you two can't kill us, because if you do, your wee secret that you didn't kill Lobos will come out, and then you will be played as shite bags, and you'll lose all your street cred, essentially. Is this really the sort of leverage that, like, would prevent them from killing Tommy and Ghost? Like, in here, there's no real guarantee that Tommy and Ghost seriously have this leverage, right? But at the end of the day, is that really enough to stop them killing Tommy and Ghost? To me, that's a bit ridiculous. But they managed to get all their stuff back, don't they? All their street crew, all that crazy shit. Mike then goes to Angela's apartment. Angela and Mike get into it. Basically, she questions Mike. Mike admits to it. He then pulls his gun on her, but turns out the whole thing was on a wire. And as he pulls his gun, everybody runs up, apart from Sax, who's listening, but Angela disconnects the wire as Mike was about to incriminate her. And then she turns around and shoots Mike in the shoulder. Mike is arrested, but Sax is still very suspicious of Angela. Will Angela finally get brought to justice? I'm not too sure. Tommy's mum then tells Tracy to back the hell away, and he's like, no one threatens me, bitch, so will he have her killed? I'm not too sure. Then we've got a heist with Tariq and two of the guys here that are part of Kanan's crew robbing this white woman's house. Tariq does his part, but then he hears her crying up the stairs and he goes up and, like, Jesus Christ, absolute disaster. Like, they're touching her up and then she's like, no, and he's like, yo, you better not have done, you shouldn't have done that, Tariq. And obviously now he's revealed one of their names. He says, Brain, stop. They take their masks off and then they have to kill her. Shot her right in the face. Tariq then does a runner, and then he's like, you know what, Dad, I think I need to move school. I need to move north. Mac then interviews Mike, and essentially he says, right, well, you know what, if I admit to being the mole and all these crazy shit that's going on here, all these cases that we closed in the past, blah blah blah, it will be reopened and it will be shafting you, Mac. So Mac's like, well, fuck it, right, we'll give you immunity then. That's pretty much what happened there, which I thought was quite intriguing. Then Angela tells the lawyer that Mike Sandoval is the real bad guy here. Then the lawyer goes over and tells Ghost that you're free, big man. No need to worry. No need to worry, big man. Then Tommy And Ghost are sitting down there worried about what Mike could say, 'cause since he's the contact, and if he knows Ghost and Tommy, it would absolutely shaft him. He could give them up. And let's just say, though, for argument's sake, Mike did know who Ghost and Tommy is, right? Let's just say he did. Would he not have already revealed it at this point, or like attempted to plant evidence to shaft him? Like, yeah, he was trying to get Ghost done for Greg's murder, but he did. I don't know. It seems like at this point, they've dragged this entire like mole storyline out so far, like Greg as well, like his death, and for it just to end in this episode with a simple phone call to Teresi. Tommy phones him, and pretty much like tells Teresi, I need you to do a favor, kill this guy, and then that's it. That is fucking. That is it. That is literally it. Teresi's like, yeah, I'll do it. And Tommy's like, you don't want anything in return. It's like, no, you're family. You're my son. So could we see these two develop a cute wee connection potentially? I guess we could. But yeah, they kill Mike Sandoval. Mike is dead. He gets his throat slit by some guy. Dre then goes to the Jimenez cartel. He's like, I'll give you Tommy's entire organization. And like the way Mike get killed, the orderly just comes in with a staple and slices the corner of his neck. And here, I'm not saying that this could make Mike bleed out, but it just goes out like a fucking jobber. I don't know. I wasn't too keen on this. Then we get like the ending montage. We see Proctor put the laptop and the USBs away in the locker, so obviously he's still got that information. And yeah, Angela sits down beside beside Mike's dead body. He's like, that was for Greg. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. But talking of numbers, troops, I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10, honestly. I think the whole wrap-up of this sucks with Mike dying. I'm just not a fan of it, and I don't even know what way they're going to, like, how this show's going to end. Like, is Proctor going to threaten Tommy and Ghost with this information? Because as soon as he gives this up, like, I mean, I honestly, I don't know, troops. Till next time, peace. And probably one of the craziest shocks this show's ever produced, in my opinion, to this date, to this episode. Ghost and Tasha lost one of their kids. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. I genuinely cannot believe what happened at the end of this episode, but let's just get stuck straight into it. Let's not beat around the bush. We do begin this episode. Tariq is going through the guy up, whatever school this is up north, him and his daddy's there. He's like, I want to change, damn it. But was Tariq ever going to get it that easy? Probably not. We've got Paz who's over at Angela's apartment. She wants to make sure she's safe. There's a wee bit of Mike's blood still on the wall. Teresi phones Tommy. He's like, I want to meet you, son. Looks like that's the way that's going to go down. But Tommy, everything's kind of fallen apart for him, apart for like Teresi. It's great that he's got to know his dad, but everybody else, all his his connects kind of out the window. All those primeras, all those guys that moved the product, own the territories, you know, the Tinos, the father, all these guys, the guy for Saw 2, they're all making these moves and it looks like it's just no happening. And then we've also got a new appointed head, this black woman, and she has the role to appoint Angela Valdez. Sax or Mac is like head of the criminal justice. Who's it going to be? Like, she kind of asks Angela about who should I choose between Mac and Sax, and I think Angela would 127% pick Mac every day of the week over Sax. But then she's like, why not me? Which is a valid point. Why not me? What about me? What about Angela? Ghost then goes meet with the guy that the councilman guy down in Queens, and then it turns out during this that basically they're funneling money through like a 2-bit crew in Queens, and I just don't understand how Ghost has even like agreed to this, like ended up in this situation. Like, why the fuck would he care? And I tell you what, right? In the next episode, it makes even less sense to me, but this is quite, giving it the whole speech. I'm the man. And as that he's giving this speech, we see later on in the episode this woman at a like diner, bar, restaurant, whatever, hears his voice on TV and she freaks out. Now, I initially didn't know who it was, but it turns out it's the woman from the premiere, I believe, the first episode of this show. So that's quite intriguing. Obviously, they killed her husband, who's played by Manny Montana. So how's that? situation going to arise. Brains and the other guy basically confront Tariq. He's like, "Are you cool, Tariq?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm not ratting on you." And then they're like, "All right, we'll leave you alone then." Then we see Ray Ray. He goes, pays these two guys a visit and kills them both. Obviously doesn't trust them, and it's good night to them. Tommy then goes, pays a visit to his mum, demands that, right, I need proof that Therese is my father, or else they're not going to let me see him. And it looks like this was him, like, officially cutting ties, sorry, with his mum. I just don't really see where else this goes. If I'm being honest, we then have Dre burning down the product, burning down the warehouse. Things are not looking good for Tommy, like I said. Angela then meets with Proctor, but joining his firm, but looks like things aren't going to go down that road. And I tell you what, this is like a weird scene because I just don't really like Proctor did hide the info that he's got on Tommy and Ghost away, and I'm going to assume that's going to play a big part later on in the show. But essentially, everybody here moves against Tommy. All the Primeras. Tommy doesn't have any of them on board. He then badmouths Dre, and Dre's like, "Well, you know what? Fucking go ahead, Tommy. You need me." And Tommy's like, "No, I don't." Essentially fires him, but that's exactly what Dre wants. Then Ray Ray turns up with his police uniform on, saying he would like to speak to Tyreek, but Rayna's like, "No, he's not here, officer. Why?" And she's like, "Oh, never mind. He leaves. Right. I thought Ray. I never knew he was a cop. I just assumed that they hoovered this uniform, and this is what they were doing. It was just like a fake uniform. Like, I get it. I knew Jukebox was a legit cop, but I didn't realize that Ray was a legit cop. That's what kind of threw me off track here. And essentially what Ray Ray's going to try and do, he's going to use his cousin, who essentially is Tyreek's girlfriend at this point, to lure Tyreek out at the school dance. So it looks like he's going to try and put a bullet in Tyreek. But surely they're not going to kill one of their kids at this stage of the game. Surely not, man. Surely not. But things are pretty much falling apart for Tommy. He meets with the guys for Chicago, and they're like, "I should have put him in the grave with Peter." Tommy then goes, confronts Keisha. Keisha's like, "No, you're not funneling money through my fucking hairdressing place, so fuck yourself, man." Which I thought was pretty mad. Then we get one of the final scenes of the family all together. We've got Tasha, we've got Ghost hugging his daughter, of course, Raina. We've got Tyreek sitting there. And Tommy comes up high. He's like, "All right, everyone." Then he's demanding the money that Ghost owes him for pretty much everything. He's like, "I need this money in order to pay the Connect, or else they're not going to be very happy." Ghost then writes him a check, not only after Tommy sticks the head through him. So it looks like these two kind of end it here on shitty terms, I guess you could say. We then have Ghost this big ceremony for the Department of Justice, or the Nights About Me thing. Tashi ain't there, she's too busy banging the lawyer. And then we think Sax or Mac is going to be announced as the new head, and it turns out it's Angela. Holy moly, Ghost and Angela share a moment on the stairs, and then that councilman guy leverages Ghost sup man, and it's I just don't get why Ghost is taking shit for this councilman guy and this jabroni for fucking Queens. Honestly, it just feels like filler, this. I do not get it. But let me tell you something, guys. Shit absolutely hits the fan. We think Dre's put an order out to kill Kanan, but Kanan overpowers these two guys, stabs them both to death. Absolutely brutal. Good seeing Kanan back. I was wondering where the hell he was. Tommy goes to visit Teresa. Pretty funny scene. He's like, "You're just an old as fuck me." He's like, "You're young as fuck me." They're both laughing and smiling. I don't know. This was a really heartwarming scene for me. I really enjoyed this. Right, but let's get to the scene that matters. Tariq heads outside. Cannot find anybody. He's not finding his girlfriend, but then he runs away for Ray. Ray tries to kill him, but Tariq gets the jump, manages to run away. Right, Ray's looking for him. Then out of nowhere, Raina appears, and I'm thinking, there's no way they're going to kill Raina, right? So obviously he's probably going to kidnap her or something, right? And then she threatens him and says, "Stay away from my brother, or else my dad, Ghost, will kill you." And I'm like, she really thinks she's a big fucking girl here. A big lassie. What's Ray going to do to that ultimatum? Well, Ray doesn't wait around, folks. Ray just whips his fucking gun out and drops Raina. And I was like, holy fuck. And Tariq's seen this. He runs over, she's dead, and that's how the episode ends. And I'm like, right, that is absolutely insane. Honestly, this is like the first scene that is like properly blew me away. Like, it's did shocking deaths before. Like, I didn't actually expect certain people to die. Like Greg, Mike's death kind of came out of nowhere, but once they put it in motion, I kind of like suspected it. Sean being killed by Kanan. But this, for me, is probably the biggest death that this show has pulled out at this stage of the game, honestly. And like, it was like the first time properly watching this show. I was like, fuck, I need to check out the next episode to see like Ghost and Tasha's reaction. And I'll say this, I think the reaction was a bit weird, but we'll leave that for the next episode. For me, I'm going to give this episode a 9. Really good episode. Par really ending strong here with season 4. But anyway, guys, leave your thoughts down below. And until next time, peace. Damn, season 4 is ending with a bang. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. We're here with Par, season 4, episode 10. It is the season 4 finale. You can't fix this. And this was quoted by Tasha. And the only real problem that I've got with this episode is the reaction that Ghost and Tasha had to losing their kid in Reyna. I don't really know how to explain it, but the reaction was more of a, like, 2 weeks have passed. Like, Reyna died in the finale, and then we had to wait to season 5, and it's been like a 2-week time skip. This is like the same night or the next morning. And I just didn't, like, I'm not saying they weren't bothered, because, I mean, Tasha was breaking down, Ghost wanting to go on the warpath, but I just expect a wee bit more from the reaction, but they're in the interrogation. And initially, when this was happening, this interrogation, I actually thought Reyna was somehow alive, even though, I mean, I was like 100% sure she was dead. But I was like, how are they going to spin this? Because I actually thought, based off their reactions, she was still alive. But I think when Tariq said, I don't know the man who murdered my sister, it was pretty blatantly obvious. Tommy then goes to meet with his family. The mob, the mafia, Tony Soprano's crew, essentially. But then Kanan pulls up with the 2 guys he killed last episode, and he demands, Tommy, did you send these guys after me? And Tommy's like, nah, it wasn't me. And then they come to the consensus that it's Dre. But I really hope going into season 5 we get more of Tommy and Kanan. And I think, judging by the end of it, we're going to get that. So I'm really looking forward to season 5. But we have to talk about this first. Tariq's still maintaining his story. He doesn't know who killed her. Tasha tells Ghost that he lies like you. And Ghost is like, fuck's sake, Tasha, give the boy a break. He just lost his sister. We lost our baby girl. And then Ghost's like, I'm going to fix this. Tommy warned me about the cartel. And she's like, you can't fix this, Ghost. This was a good scene. They were both visibly, like, but I don't know. I just expect a bit more, like, initially for the start of the episode about these two, like, being sad about the death of their daughter. And then, like, they come up into their apartment and it's like everybody's there. And they, like it's not even like they have to fake sadness. They really don't. But yeah, Ghost gets ready. He's going to go on the warpath. He needs to know. He thinks it's the Jimenez cartel who's, retaliated here by killing his daughter, which is pretty sick. Angela's then giving her big speech here, talking about, we found this gun, obviously pointing to one of the Jimenez cartel. Sax then turns up and reveals that he starts speaking about St. Patrick, like, there's really no need for that, Sax. We dropped that a long time ago. He goes, well, but his daughter got killed, and obviously, Angela's got a close relationship with, had a close relationship, interacted with Reyna quite a few times. But, quite sad scenes here. I mean, even watching this episode, I was still in like a state of shock about how this even went down. Ghost leaves. Angela confronts him. It's like, you cannot play by these rules. You can't kill Reyna's killer by going out in the streets. Like, I'm making funeral arrangements, buddy. But obviously that's what he's going to do. Sax does warn Angela that now is the perfect time to bring Ghost down, because he's going to get sloppy and he's going to avenge his daughter. And Sax is absolutely on the money, but Angela just wants nothing to do with this, man. Tommy and Ghost sit in the back of the car. Well, in the front of the car, sorry. And Tommy's like, I'm sorry, Ghost. And Ghost is like, everything we did, Tommy, was for those kids. We got to make this right. Tariq then makes a phone call to Kanan, asking about Ray. He hasn't given me my shipment, man. He hasn't given me my shipment. But Kenan's like, wonder why he's asking about Ray. But later on we see Kenan speaking to like his crew, I guess, his new crew. So this guy seems to set up a crew every time he leaves, man. And one of them reveals that Ghost's daughter died last night, and he's like, "What?" Well, he says child, and then he's like, "What, Tyreek?" He's like, "No, no, his other one." And then obviously that's kind of why Kanan puts two and two together about that, and he ends up telling Tommy that it was Ray Ray. But talking of Ray Ray, he's paid a visit here by Angela, and obviously if he wasn't a cop, this just wouldn't work, but it does work. And Angela confronts him, and Angela's like, you spoke to the main girl yesterday, Raina." But she's not really too suspicious. I guess when she goes back to the department, she does look at like the laptop, and sees that he was like zoomed in on the case and the file and all the details about it. Anyway, Tommy and Ghost lay the smackdown, and the guy that killed Julio, they essentially wipe him out. But the guys obviously had nothing to do with Raina's death, and they're like, we had nothing to do with it. The Jimenez cartel wouldn't kill kids. They wouldn't sign off on it. And he's like, but I did hurt your family. I'm the one that killed Julio. And then they're like, who the fuck said that? And he's like, Dre, it was Dre. So Dre is completely and utterly landed in the shit here by this guy. But you know what? He was getting absolutely shot to death with a nail gun and co. I can't really blame him too much. Tommy then goes to like talk to Dre, but then Ray Ray meets with Dre and demands that Dre gives him the money, or else he's going to out him because he's like, I've been wearing a wire this whole fucking time. Yeah, right. Yeah, you like. But by association, if you've been wearing a wire this entire time, like dirty or not, you're not going down. Ray, big man. Ray. So Trey Higgs is in this guy's pocket, not good. And then Tariq heads out. Tariq's like, I gotta head out. Tommy then meets with the priest and says, it was a pretty funny conversation he had here with the priest. And then after this is when Tommy finds out for Ken. And another thing I didn't really like about this episode, he's making the funeral arrangements, Ghost. And then, like, the councilman guy for Queens is, like, saying, oh, you've got to choose this. We've got to make it all about publicity. You know, we've got to be in the public eye. There's good money and things to be made for this. And, like, Ghost just sits and accepts it like a little bitch. Like, I don't know if it's going to ever result in Ghost killing this guy, but it really should. This guy he seemed dead on. Now, all of a sudden, he seems like the biggest dick on God's green earth. Tommy then storms in to Ray Ray's cousin's place. She's been kind of going out with Tariq. He demands here, but yeah, I didn't think he'd kill her. He didn't kill her, but he gets all the information that he needs about one of the stash houses, damn it, boy. And then Sasha obviously finds that the Tariq's going to do this. And there was just a weird scene where Tasha was trying to find Tariq in her own house, and everybody looked like Tariq. It's so weird, right? So Rain has died. And these kids, who are obviously like family or associates to the family, are all in Tariq's room playing his fucking Xbox. And it's like, hold on here. It's like a wake. It's everyone's sitting here playing fucking Xbox. What are you doing, man? She then goes into her safe. Tasha, turns out Tariq has took the gun. Tariq then confronts Dre about Ray, and then what does Big Ray do? Or no, Tariq's Dre, sorry, he gives up the location. Tasha then, in a panic, demands they get a trace to Tariq's cell, but don't tell the police about it, Angela. And then once the trace comes through, Angela's like, why didn't you want me to tell the police? Well, it's blatantly fucking obvious why Tasha didn't want you to involve the police, because hell, shit is about to go down. So Tariq shows up at the apartment where Dre is supposed to meet Ray. Tariq has managed to get in. Ghost arrives just behind him, sees him get in the elevator. Ghost then has to smash the door. Tommy then has to open the door the same way. Sasha then has to open the door. So at this point, we've got Tariq bursting into the apartment while Ghost is in second place, Tommy's in third, and Tasha's in fourth. It's like, holy shit, what's going to go down? Right, they've just killed Raina. I didn't think Tariq was going to die, but it wouldn't have been like the biggest shock in the world if he did die, considering what just happened last episode. But Tariq, he's getting, downplayed here by Ray. Ray's calling him a card. Oh, your sister had more balls than you. But then a gunshot goes off. Ghost breaks into the apartment. Ray is dead. Tommy shows up. Tasha shows up, man. And everybody is okay. Then the witness last episode, who, seen Ghost on the TV and recognised him, is now with Sax. So is this a new way into St. Patrick into Ghost? Then the priest meets with Dre and says, I didn't know you killed Julio. And then fucking Dre just absolutely kills him. Tyreek then washes all his clothes like Tommy and Ghost used to do. Crazy shit going down. Dre then meets with Jimenez and looks like they're all happy Lori, happy Dory. Da, 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 da. And then Tyreek, the gun that he fired is like the bullet's lodged in the wall, and Angela wants that for like the investigation forensics. And then Tasha tells the lawyer guy that she's been sleeping with, I committed the crime. It wasn't Ghost. It was me. And obviously it's her gun that Tyreek used. So is Tasha going to jail? I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, that's what season 5's setting up to be. Dre's meet with the Jimenez cartel finishes, and then we see Ghost and Tommy plan their next moves. Like, nah, we can't just wipe him in front of the cartel. And then Kanan's in the back. I was like, holy shit. Obviously now all three of them have got a personal beef with Dre, and it looks like these three are going to unite. And then Tommy's like, anyone for some pizza? Obviously referring to, I've got my family's in the mob. Holy shit, are we going to get these three teaming up with the mob to wipe out Dre and the Jimenez cartel? What a way to set up season 5. And what I love about this episode, right? I'm giving it a 9 because I do think there was a few things off with it, but it was still a great episode, don't get me wrong. I love a TV show where something massive happens in the penultimate episode, and then the finale is like the aftermath, but so much else going on. I hate when like a cliffhanger happens and you have to wait to the next season. Now, obviously, right, this show happened a few years ago, so I don't need to wait. But I look at Sons, like Donna died in episode 12, and then the finales, the big revelation. Sons, like so many examples in Sons, like when Opie shoots Clay. It's not the season finale. You can just tune in next week. And I love when TV shows do this. The Walking Dead did the polar opposite most times. Now, to be fair, it did kill Shane in the penultimate one, but The Walking Dead used to do it in the early seasons. By the later seasons, it was all about the clickbait, baby. But anyway, guys, I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10, which means for the season, it was 74 out of 100, which means an average rating of 7.4. That's quite good. I mean, it's not too bad, and the season definitely ended stronger than what it. I mean, it started strong and it ended really strong. In the middle was a wee bit weak in parts, but a really good season for me, the best season overall, and I'm really looking forward to the next 2 seasons. And then, of course, we've got 3 books to enjoy, which are still ongoing. So yeah, cannot wait, troops. But until next time, 9 out of 10, and peace.